There comes a strange yet liberating moment in life when you finally learn to let go. Not the careless kind of whatever I give up, but a deep release that unchains your soul from the invisible ropes of fear, pressure, and the need to control. And here's a truth hardly anyone tells you: most of the struggles in your life don't come from what's missing, but from your refusal to release what's already gone. In Buddhist wisdom, this is the moment when the universe begins to lean in, guiding you toward what truly belongs to you. If you stay open, life quietly unfolds new doors that were waiting all along. 1. The silent prison of holding on. There's a strange sense of false safety in holding on. You convince yourself that if you grip tightly enough, nothing will ever slip away. But beneath that illusion lies a quiet suffocation. The heart grows heavy, the mind restless, and life itself shrinks inside the cage of fear. The tighter you cling, the faster what you love seems to fade like water, slipping through clenched fingers. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that attachment is the seed of suffering. When we attach, we don't just love, we demand, we fear, we control. What feels like protection is in reality a silent prison. Here lies the paradox: the more desperately you try to keep something from leaving, the quicker it escapes because it cannot breathe in your grasp. Picture a tiny bird resting in your palm. If you close your fist around it, its fragile body will panic, struggle, and weaken. But if you open your hand, it may fly away, or it may choose to stay resting peacefully in trust. 2. The lesson of the bird and life itself. Life is no different from that bird. It cannot thrive in a cage. It blossoms only when given space to breathe. In today's world, people cling to relationships, jobs, identities, and outcomes. You may hold on to a career you've already outgrown simply because change feels too risky. You may cling to a relationship not out of love, but out of fear of loneliness. Yet the more you grip, the more you lose. Only when you have the courage to let go do you finally discover the new doors waiting to open. Sometimes what we cling to isn't a person or a job at all. It's the image of who we once were. You hold on tightly to that old version of yourself, terrified of meeting the unknown self waiting to emerge. But here's the truth: every time you close your hand around the past, you block the future that's trying to reach you. Letting go is not the same as losing. It's an act of faith. In Buddhist practice, release is an expression of trust that life knows how to carry you exactly where you're meant to be. Think about rivers. They don't need to be pushed to find the ocean. They flow naturally, gracefully, finding their way home without force. Life works the same way. By unclenching your grip, you open space for blessings to arrive. Ask yourself honestly, what am I holding on to out of fear? What weight am I clutching so tightly that my hands have forgotten how to open? And if I dared to release it even for a moment, would it really be the end, or could it be the beginning? Remember, letting go is not abandonment. It's an invitation for what is true to return, and for both you and the things you care for to finally breathe, to grow, and to flourish. A clenched hand can never receive, but the open palm welcomes the gifts of the universe. And maybe in that quiet surrender, you'll realize that what you've been chasing all along has already been on its way to you. 2. The invisible weight you carry. There are burdens we carry that no one else can see. From the outside, you smile, you move forward, you keep going. But inside, something heavy drags at every step. It's not made of metal or wood. It's built from thoughts, memories, regrets, and fears. The most dangerous weights aren't the ones everyone notices. They're the invisible ones we've carried for too long. Buddhist wisdom reminds us most suffering doesn't come from the present moment. It comes from the echoes of yesterday that we refuse to set down. Picture yourself walking with a backpack stuffed with stones. Each step feels heavier, yet you never stop to ask why. Some stones were placed there by others, the expectations, the criticism, the endless comparisons. Some you put there yourself, the regrets you can't forgive, the fears you secretly feed, the need to control what was never yours to control. And little by little, those stones bend even the strongest back. Picture yourself finally sitting down, taking off that heavy backpack you've been carrying for years, and placing it gently on the ground. For the first time, you unzip it and look inside. One by one, you pick up a stone and quietly call it by its name. This one is regret. That one is fear. Here lies the endless need for control. As each stone touches the earth, something shifts. You feel your shoulders lighten, your breath deepen, your steps grow freer. And in that moment, you realize something profound. Much of what you've been carrying was never truly yours to bear. The subtle signs of invisible weight in our modern world, this hidden heaviness shows up in ways we often overlook. You catch yourself replaying old conversations in your mind, clinging to grudges long after the moment has passed, or worrying endlessly about a future that hasn't yet arrived. Your body tenses, sleep turns restless, joy feels distant. But when you look closer, you begin to see the truth. The burden isn't reality itself, it's the story your mind tells about reality. The mind clings to its stones not because it must, but simply out of habit. And habits, though comfortable, are not freedom. The wisdom of laying it down, the Buddha taught that true liberation begins the moment we recognize our attachments and choose to release them. To put down these stones is not an act of weakness. It is an act of courage and wisdom. Think of a traveler hiking toward the mountain's peak. If they refuse to set down their load, they may never reach the top. In the same way, a mind that refuses to release its burdens will never taste true peace. So ask yourself, what heavy stone could I set down right now? Who placed it in my hands? Why have I carried it for so long? Is it really a part of who you are, or just something you've mistakenly identified as yourself? The truth is simple. You are not your regrets, not your fears, and not your need for control. Each stone you release creates room for clarity, for freedom, for joy to enter. The universe cannot place new blessings in hands already full. Only when you release what no longer belongs do you open space to receive what was meant for you all along. And when that shift happens, you'll notice something remarkable. The road ahead may be the same, but you'll walk it lighter, not because the path changed, but because you did. 3. The dance between effort and invitation. There comes a point where striving something that once felt noble and inspiring begins to push life away. You tell yourself you're working hard for your dreams, but the more you force, the more those dreams seem to drift just out of reach. You can't push a river and expect it to flow faster. The river already knows its path. Your role isn't to control its current, but to trust its direction. In Buddhist wisdom, this is called the middle way, the balance between effort and surrender. Yes, action matters, but so does allowing space. When the mind clings too tightly to a timeline or a specific outcome, it creates tension. And that tension itself becomes the very barrier that blocks the blessings you're reaching for. Think of a flower. You can't force it to bloom by pulling at its petals. Doing so only destroys what it was meant to become. Life, too, has its rhythm. Patience isn't the same as passivity. Patience is action without desperation, moving forward without the frantic urge to control every detail. Now imagine yourself sitting quietly beside a river, watching the current drift toward you. In the water, you begin to see reflections of what your heart longs for: love, opportunities, peace. Notice how they arrive, not because you chased them upstream, but because the current carried them effortlessly to your shore. The river never needed your push. What it needed was your openness when the gifts finally arrived. The forgotten truth of modern life. In today's world, it's easy to forget this truth. We push endlessly for promotions. We force connections in relationships. We obsess over rigid timelines for success. And in the process, we forget to live the moment we're already in. Here lies the great irony: the harder we cling, the less joy we find even when we finally achieve what we thought we wanted. A restless heart will never feel satisfied, no matter the prize. Buddhist wisdom whispers a reminder: peace is born not from giving up, but from balancing effort with trust. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what you can with clarity and then letting go of what you cannot control. Seeds don't grow because you tug at them. They grow because you plant them with care, then allow the sun, the rain, and time to do their work. The art of invitation. So ask yourself, where in my life am I pushing instead of inviting? What would happen if I stepped back and gave space for the universe to move? Would the results be delayed, or would they finally have the room they need to arrive? When you stop forcing and start inviting, you step into alignment with the natural flow of life. Doors open without struggle. People and opportunities appear without being chased. And the right things arrive not just on time, but in perfect time when both you and they are ready. Letting go does not mean losing control. It means choosing trust over fear. And within that space of trust, the universe often delivers far more than you ever dared to imagine. Not because you demanded it, but simply because you made space for it to find you. 4. Clenched fist thinking. The Buddha once compared a closed fist to a closed mind. A fist may look strong, but its strength is an illusion, because a fist cannot receive. In the same way, when the mind grips too tightly around a rigid belief, it leaves no room for truth when truth finally arrives. We often confuse tightness with certainty. Yet more often than not, what we call certainty is nothing more than fear dressed up as strength. An open hand, however, can hold the entire sky, but only if it is willing to open first. The trap of narrow vision. In Buddhist wisdom, clenched fist thinking is dangerous because it locks us inside our own narrow vision of reality. When we hold too tightly to our opinions, our past experiences, or our fixed picture of how life must unfold, we cut ourselves off from the unexpected blessings the universe longs to give us. Think of soil packed down so tightly that no seed can take root. It doesn't matter how perfect the seed is, if the ground is unyielding, nothing will grow. Now picture yourself in a quiet garden. You kneel down, place your hands on the earth, and gently break apart the hardened soil. As air and space enter suddenly, the ground becomes fertile again, ready to nurture life. Your mind works in the exact same way. It needs looseness, openness, and space for new truths to take root. The signs of a closed mind. Clenched thinking often shows up in subtle ways. It appears when you say, "This is the only way. I already know how this ends." Or when you resist advice, avoid change, or judge a situation before it has even had the chance to unfold. Yes, certainty feels safe, but safety can quietly turn into a cage. And inside that cage, new paths remain hidden. The Buddha's teachings invite us to release our mental grip, to replace the heavy "I know" with the lighter "I wonder." Curiosity softens the mind. It transforms life from a rigid script into a living, breathing journey, one where every step can reveal something unexpected, something beautiful, something new. The power of an open mind. An open mind doesn't lose itself. It adapts, receives, and grows stronger. Ask yourself, What belief am I gripping so tightly that it has no room to expand? Is it a belief about who you are, about what you're capable of, about how your future must unfold? What if you allowed life the space to surprise you? When you soften your grip, you'll notice that you can hold far more than before, not because you abandoned your values, but because you allowed them to expand. Just as loosened soil welcomes both rain and seed, an open mind welcomes truth and possibility. The universe never stops offering gifts, but it will not force them into a clenched fist. When you release your grip, you may suddenly realize you've been holding the sky all along. 5. The pause that feels like nothing. Right after you finally let go, there's often a strange silence. A pause that feels like nothing. You may expect instant relief, a burst of clarity, or some grand shift, but instead you're met with emptiness, and that emptiness can feel unsettling. Yet Buddhist wisdom reminds us this stillness is not a void, it's the very space where life breathes. Without it, nothing new can ever enter. We live in a world that teaches us to constantly fill every gap, to replace one relationship with another, to chase the next goal before the dust settles, to drown silence with endless noise. But the space after letting go is not something to escape, it is the fertile ground where transformation quietly begins. The gift of stillness. Think of a bow pulled back before the arrow is released. That pause, that quiet tension isn't wasted, it's essential. It's the gathering of invisible energy before flight. Now imagine yourself as that bow, drawn back, held in stillness, feeling the silent stretch of waiting. This is not wasted time, it is alignment. It is the moment your inner self prepares for the release that will send you forward straight toward what was always meant for you. To rush through this pause would only weaken your aim. And in daily life, this stillness can take many forms. After leaving a job that drained your spirit, there may be weeks of uncertainty before the right door opens. After releasing a relationship, there may be lonely nights before love in its truest form appears. The pause is not the end. It is the quiet before a new beginning. The quiet before the arrival. When you release an attachment to a person, there may be an empty stretch of loneliness before deeper, truer connections arrive. But this emptiness is not a sign that nothing is happening. It's a sign that something new is being prepared for you. The Buddha's teachings often remind us of the hidden beauty in such spaces. Just as the moon's glow is visible only because of the darkness around it, the blessings we receive are often noticed only because of the stillness that comes before them. This silence is not wasted. It's where you gather strength, where you finally meet yourself without distraction. Ask yourself, do I rush to fill the silence after letting go? Can I rest in this stillness without grasping for the next thing? If you can, you'll discover something profound. What once felt like nothing becomes the clearest, most meaningful moment of your life. Trust that in this pause, life is quietly rearranging itself in your favor. The universe is aligning people, events, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. And if you can remain patient, you'll feel it, the arrow flying true toward its mark. The pause is not the end of your journey. It is simply the breath before the next step. And in that single breath, everything meant for you is already on its way. 6. The universe's gentle tests. Often just when you finally let go, life places a small challenge before you. It feels almost as if the universe is whispering, "Are you sure you're ready?" You may have loosened your grip, stepped into trust, and released what once held you back. And yet something happens that makes you question it all. This is not punishment. It is a gentle test, a reminder to check whether your surrender is real. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the path to freedom is not walked only in quiet moments of peace. It is also walked in moments of trial, when old fears resurface or temptations try to pull you back into your old grip. Letting go is never just a single act. It is a practice, a way of living. And sometimes the universe will place before you the very situation that once trapped you simply to see if you can stand firm this time. Imagine standing at the shore, watching the tide pull back. The water recedes, leaving the sand bare exposed. It feels empty, but you know the tide always returns, carrying with it something new. The returning tide. When the tide pulls away, you might feel abandoned, unsure if it will ever return. But tides always return. And when they do, they often rush back fuller, carrying with them seashells, treasures, and new life. The retreat is not a loss. It is a gathering of strength. In life, this retreat may show up as an unexpected delay, a closed door, or a difficult conversation right after you've chosen to step forward. If you've released the need to control, life may test your readiness by placing you in situations where control is impossible. These aren't moments to doubt, they are moments to deepen your trust. The Buddha spoke of impermanence as the nature of all things. Everything flows in cycles, ebb and flow, rise and fall, arrival and departure. The challenges you face after release are not punishments. They're simply part of the cycle. Gentle confirmations, not obstacles. The question life asks is simple. Will you remain open even when the tide is out? Will you still believe in its return? Ask yourself, what test am I facing right now that may actually be proof I'm closer than ever to receiving? Could this discomfort be the universe pulling back, creating space to deliver something greater into my life? When you see life's challenges as confirmations instead of obstacles, fear softens into faith. You begin to recognize that the tests are not here to block you. They are here to shape you, strong enough, open enough, steady enough to receive. So when the tide of life pulls away, don't run from the shore. Stand barefoot in the sand, with patience, trusting that the waters will return. And when they do, they will bring more than you imagined, not because you chased them, but because you trusted them to come. The art of letting go without losing. There's a common fear: if I let go, I'll lose what matters most. So we cling tightly to people, dreams, and outcomes, believing that our grip alone keeps them alive. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us what is truly yours cannot be lost. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning what you love. It means trusting it enough to give it space to grow. Think of a kite in your hands. You release it into the wind, and instead of falling, it soars higher. Though it dances freely in the sky, the invisible string of trust keeps you connected. In the same way, when we release with faith, we don't sever our connection, we strengthen it. The art of letting go. Without losing, continued, when we let go, we don't abandon what we love, we allow life to carry it to greater heights. The Buddha's teachings on non-attachment are often misunderstood. Non-attachment is not coldness or indifference. It is freedom, the freedom from the suffering that comes from control. When we cling, we shrink life down to fit inside our fears. But when we trust, we allow life to expand far beyond anything we could have planned for ourselves. The art of letting go without losing is really the art of trust. Trusting that the universe's design is wiser, kinder, and more generous than our own limited vision. A practice of trust. Imagine yourself holding something precious, a dream, a relationship, or perhaps even an image of the person you believe you must be. Feel the weight of it in your hands. Then slowly begin to uncurl your fingers. Watch as it rises like a kite, carried into the open space where the wind can lift it higher. In time, it may return to you, or it may transform into something even more beautiful, something more perfectly aligned with your path. Either way, you have not lost. You have allowed. Life proves this truth again and again. A person you feared losing returns, but this time with deeper understanding. An opportunity you thought had vanished reappears, reshaped into something far better suited for you. A dream you believed had ended quietly evolves into a version richer and more alive than before. This is not coincidence. It is the natural rhythm of release and return. The declaration of release. Ask yourself, what would I release today if I trusted it would return better? Would you set down the need to control every detail of your career? Would you loosen your grip on how love must look? Would you allow your identity to shift into something more authentic and true? Each act of release is more than a choice, it is a declaration. I trust that what is mine will find me. In that trust, you set yourself free from the constant fear of loss. You create space for the universe to bring you what is truly aligned with your soul. When you master the art of letting go without losing, you come to see the deeper truth: nothing real can ever be taken from you. Like the kite, it will always be connected not by force, but by the quiet, unbreakable string of trust. And in that trust, you discover something profound. Letting go is never the end. It is always the beginning of a better return. 8. The truth about control. We often believe that by gripping tightly, controlling every detail, every outcome, every person, we're protecting ourselves from disappointment. But Buddhist wisdom invites us to look closer. Is control really strength? Or is it simply fear disguised as strength? The deeper truth is this: the strongest grip is the one that knows when to let go. Control promises safety, but in reality it is a fragile shield. The more we cling, the more fragile we feel, because life is always shifting beyond our grasp. Trying to control it all is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Life is not meant to be trapped. It is meant to be lived, flowed with, trusted, and experienced. The waterfall metaphor. Picture yourself standing beneath a waterfall. You reach out trying to catch the rushing water. No matter how hard you squeeze your hands, it slips away. Exhausting, isn't it, now? Imagine opening your palms, allowing the water to pour over and around you. You don't lose it, you feel it more fully. You are immersed in it. The difference is that you are no longer wasting your strength trying to contain what was never meant to be contained. The subtle forms of control. In modern life, the desire for control sneaks into countless corners of our lives, trying to manage what others think of us, forcing situations to happen on our timeline, clinging to one narrow vision of success. At first, these habits may feel empowering, but over time they leave us tense, anxious, and disconnected from the natural flow of events. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us impermanence is not a flaw in life, it is life. When we resist this truth, we suffer. When we embrace it, we find peace, shifting from control to flow. Letting go of control does not mean becoming passive. It means redirecting your energy toward what you can influence: your actions, your choices, your mindset, and then releasing the rest. Ask yourself, what part of my life am I gripping too tightly? Am I rehearsing a conversation again and again? Am I forcing an outcome to arrive on my schedule? Am I trying to change someone who doesn't want to change? What might happen if you stopped holding on so tightly? True strength isn't in bending the world to your will. True strength is in moving gracefully with its currents, like a skilled swimmer who trusts the water instead of fighting it. Like a skilled sailor adjusting the sails instead of fighting the wind, you discover that life moves you further with less strain when you flow with it rather than against it. When you release the illusion of control, you create room for the universe to guide you. And in that release, you finally see the truth. Life has always been carrying you toward what was meant for you, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. And in that allowing, you discover a power far greater than control itself. 9. The space where miracles arrive. There is a quiet truth that many overlook. Emptiness often comes before abundance. In the language of Buddhist wisdom, this emptiness is not a loss, it is preparation. The cup must be emptied before it can be filled. Without space, even the most beautiful blessings have nowhere to land. Yet we spend so much of our lives clinging to possessions, relationships, old habits, and outdated versions of ourselves. But just as a farmer cannot plant a new harvest without first clearing the field, we cannot welcome new growth while our lives remain crowded with what no longer serves us. Clearing the field. Imagine your life as a vast, fertile field. The soil is rich, but it's covered with last season's plants, dried stalks, tangled roots, weeds that have long overstayed their welcome. You step into this field, take a deep breath, and begin to clear it. Each plant you remove is something you've outgrown, a lingering fear, a heavy obligation, a memory you've carried too long. And as the field becomes bare, you realize it is not barren. It is ready. The sacred pause. In modern life, this clearing often feels uncomfortable. The space created by letting go may feel like an empty room, a blank calendar, a pause in your plans. It can feel like absence. But Buddhist teachings remind us this space is sacred. It is the silence before the music begins. It is the stillness before the sun crests the horizon. It is the place where the universe quietly begins weaving something new for you. The challenge is that many of us rush to fill the gap. We replace one relationship with another, one dream with another, desperate to avoid the silence in between. Yet it is in that silence where miracles are born. It is in that silence where clarity begins to grow. The longer we can sit with it, the more open we become to possibilities we never could have imagined while our hands were still clinging. Ask yourself, where in my life do I need to make space for what's coming? Is there a habit that quietly drains my energy? A commitment that no longer brings me joy? A belief that keeps me small? What would happen if you released it, not in fear, but in trust, trusting that the emptiness left behind is not an ending, but a beginning? When you create space, you are sending a signal to the universe, I am ready. You open your life like a clear field under the sun, and in time the seeds of new opportunities will be planted there. The harvest will come not by clinging to the past, but by welcoming the future. And when that future arrives, you'll see the truth. The emptiness you once feared was actually the doorway through which abundance entered. 10. Trusting the invisible threads. There are moments when life feels tangled. Events seem random, disconnected, even unfair. You wonder if there is any order at all, any guiding force behind the chaos. Yet Buddhist wisdom reminds us the unseen hand often weaves the most intricate designs. Even when you cannot see the pattern, the weaving continues with perfect precision. Think of life as a great tapestry. From the back, all you see are loose threads, knots, and colors crisscrossing in messy directions. From that angle, there is no beauty, no meaning. But turn it around, and on the other side is a picture so detailed, so harmonious, it takes your breath away. Your life is that tapestry. Every joy, every heartbreak, every delay, every chance encounter is a thread. Some are bright, some are dark, but each one is essential for the pattern to emerge. The light gives contrast to the dark. The dark gives depth to the light. Without both, the picture would be flat, incomplete. In the middle of uncertainty, it's tempting to tug at the threads to rearrange the pattern before it's ready. But pulling too soon only distorts the design. Trusting the process means letting the unseen hand of the universe work in its own rhythm. It's realizing that even the moments that feel like mistakes may become the brushstrokes that give your life its most profound beauty. In our modern world, we crave instant clarity. We demand answers. Why is this happening now? Where will it lead? How will it end? But the Buddha's wisdom invites us to rest in the unknown, to accept that some truths reveal themselves only when the time is right. This patience is not passive. It is active faith. Ask yourself, what if my current chaos is just the underside of a masterpiece? What if the delays, the detours, the disappointments are the very threads that will one day complete the pattern of my life? When you choose to trust the invisible threads, you release the exhausting need to control every stitch. You begin to see that life is not random. It is art in progress. And one day, when the time is right, the tapestry will be turned over, and you will stand in awe at the beauty that was being woven all along. Until then, you keep walking, keep living, keep trusting, knowing the masterpiece is already in the making. 11. Letting life lead for once. There is a deep peace that comes when you finally allow life to guide you instead of always insisting on leading. From childhood, we are taught to take charge, to plan every step, to grip the wheel with both hands. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us life whispers before it shouts. If we are too busy forcing, we miss those whispers, the quiet invitations toward paths we never imagined. Life is not always a straight road you can map with precision. It is more like a dance. And in this dance, there are moments when you must let your partner lead. When you surrender to that guidance, you begin to feel the subtle cues, the gentle pressure of a hand at your back, the graceful shift in direction. You may not know the next step, but you sense you are being carried somewhere meaningful, somewhere beautiful. This is the art of letting life lead for once. Imagine closing your eyes and placing your hand in life's hand. You step onto a floor you do not recognize. The music begins, and though you don't know the choreography, something inside you knows. These steps are taking you exactly where you're meant to go. The music begins softly. At first, you don't know the rhythm, but as you relax into it, you begin to feel yourself being turned, guided, and carried into places you never would have stepped on your own. And in those moments, you discover not only the joy of the dance, but also the deep relief of not having to control it. We often believe that if we stop leading, we'll lose our way. Yet more often, it is in surrender that we find the truest direction. Life knows turns and openings we cannot yet see from where we stand. The detour you resist today may be the very path that saves you from a storm you never knew was ahead. Buddhist practice invites us to listen deeply, not only to people but to the quiet rhythms of existence, the rising and falling of breath, the shifting of seasons, the way opportunities appear when we stop chasing. When you allow life to lead, you make space for these rhythms to guide you. You begin to notice signs you once overlooked, the gentle nudges, the subtle synchronicities, the doors opening without your force. Ask yourself, where in my life could I stop leading just for a while? Where could I release the urge to plan every step and instead allow the next step to reveal itself? Letting life lead does not mean giving up your power. It means trusting that there is a greater choreography already unfolding, one that knows your deepest needs and your highest path even when you cannot yet see it. When you stop clinging to control, you realize that life has been waiting all along, waiting to sweep you into a dance more beautiful than anything you could have choreographed yourself. And in that surrender, suddenly the steps begin to make sense. Bonus lesson: the moment you're ready to receive. There comes a quiet moment on the path when the struggle finally ends. Not because you forced an outcome, but because you opened yourself enough to receive. It is a subtle shift, so subtle you might not notice it at first. In that instant, the clenching is gone. The constant reaching, the restless need to control, released. Your hands are finally empty. And in that emptiness, your heart feels full. This is the moment the universe has been waiting, for the moment you are finally ready to receive. It is like the first drops of rain after a long drought. For weeks, maybe months, the ground has been dry, cracked, thirsty. And then, almost without warning, the sky opens. The rain doesn't arrive in a hesitant trickle, it pours. Full, generous, unstoppable. The earth drinks deeply, and every seed that once lay dormant begins to awaken. So it is with your own heart. When the blessings you've longed for finally arrive, they do not come because you demanded them, but because you created space to hold them. To be ready to receive is not the same as wanting. Desire alone is not enough. Readiness means spaciousness. If your hands are already full, clutching fears, grudges, outdated dreams, where could the new possibly fit? Letting go is not about loss. It is about clearing sacred space for what is meant to find you. A cluttered heart cannot welcome a sunrise. The rain within. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the first rain after a parched season. Feel it soak into the dry ground, washing away the dust, cooling the air. Now imagine that rain is love, opportunity, peace, all the things you've been waiting for. Can you soften enough to let it in? Can you stop shielding yourself out of fear it might leave too quickly? Buddhist wisdom reminds us readiness is never about the outer clock. It is about the ripeness within. A fruit doesn't fall from the tree because the clock strikes an hour. It falls because it has reached its fullness. In the same way, life delivers what you are meant to receive, not when you force it, but when you are truly ready to hold it with open, unburdened hands. Ask yourself, if everything I've ever deserved arrived tomorrow, would I be able to receive it fully? Or would I still be half-closed, distracted, clutching the remnants of what no longer serves me? The moment you are ready to receive is never an accident. It is the result of your openness, your trust, your willingness to let go. And in that readiness, the universe rushes in full, generous, unstoppable, just like the rain. This moment, the moment you are truly ready to receive, is the result of every small surrender, every act of trust, every letting go that has emptied your hands and cleared your heart. And when that moment arrives, the universe does not hesitate. Like rain meeting the thirsty earth, it comes in fullness. And it comes to stay. Quick summary of the principles. 1. The silent prison of holding on. Holding on may feel like safety, but it quietly traps you in fear. The tighter your grip, the less space there is for anything new to arrive. True peace begins when you release control. 2. The weight you cannot see. We carry invisible burdens, regrets, fears, old expectations that weigh us down without our noticing. Letting go frees energy, lightens the spirit, and allows life to flow again. 3. The dance between effort and invitation. Life responds better to openness than to force. When you shift from chasing to allowing opportunities begin to come to you naturally. 4. Clenched fist thinking. A rigid mind cannot grow. By loosening fixed beliefs and mental tension, you create space for new truths and possibilities to take root. 5. The pause that feels like nothing. Right after you let go, there is often a quiet emptiness. But this stillness is not a void. It is the fertile ground where transformation begins. 6. The universe's gentle tests. Life may challenge you after you release something important. These aren't punishments. They are confirmations that you are ready to receive something greater. 7. The art of letting go without losing. Letting go does not mean losing. What is truly yours will return often, in a form even better than before. 8. The truth about control. Control often masks fear. True strength comes from trust, allowing life to unfold in ways your own force never could. 9. The space where miracles arrive. Abundance needs room. By clearing away what no longer serves you, you prepare yourself for the blessings waiting to enter. 10. Trusting the invisible threads. Even when life looks tangled, trust that the unseen hand is weaving every moment into a larger, more beautiful design. 11. Letting life lead for once you don't always have to lead. When you listen and follow life's quiet cues, you find yourself in places force alone could never take you. 12. The moment you're ready to receive. You'll know you've let go when your hands and heart feel open, ready to receive without fear, without demand, and without condition. Letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It takes courage to release what you cannot control and faith to trust what you cannot yet see. In Zen philosophy, the empty hand is never a symbol of loss. It is the readiness to hold something new. Life is always offering, but only to those who have created the space to receive. As the Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. When you stop clutching at what was, you finally open yourself to what can be. The universe moves in harmony with open hearts, delivering not always what you want, but always what you need. The art is to be still enough to notice and wise enough to accept. So I leave you with this question. If tomorrow the universe came knocking, would it find you weighed down with yesterday's grip, or standing with empty hands, ready for the gift? If this message touched your heart, please like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more timeless Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, meaningful life.